This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by NewHampshireFreePress.com, the libertarian paper cranking out great news and opinion since early 2006. NewHampshireFreePress.com.
The cojones on him. So, but yeah, he got 90 days for contempt 3 times, and then they commuted his $120 fine to more time in jail. That's all I can really say. They found him guilty for having rubbish, quote unquote, on his lawn. That's all I can really say. I mean, there was nothing really more to it than the judge really yelling over him or telling him that he couldn't bring up certain points, like such as his obligation to the city of Keene, which he said it was a political point, but it is kind of a legal point in that if the city of Keene is operating on a contractual basis, then the city of Keene has to approve the contract between the two. That was something I observed, and I was thinking of Lysander Spooner. But yeah, that's all I really have to share right now. But oh man, I can't. This is unbelievable, really.
Pretty good commentary, Jesse. Thanks.
Thank you. Hey, anytime.
Your keychain's up there.
Oh, is it?
I concur. Yeah, the guys have it, and they'd like to get it to you.
Oh.
This is a shocking outcome for you, Mark?
I am surprised. I really am. I thought,
You can come back this way.
can't see. Having, I watched the whole thing. I think the judge was trying to be as fair as he could, at the same time trying to keep control of his courtroom. And I've got sort of a little Monday morning quarterbacking for both sides. Like, I think that the judge briefly violated Ian's right to remain silent. I think that Ian was foolishly single-minded on his sort of his questioning and the direction he was taking things. I firmly believe that in a situation of an appeal that he's in really good shape. However, he's been sentenced to 93 days, and the appeal's going to come, months and years later. They're not going to give him back 93 days. They can't. His life will be, ended at that point, or that not ended, but his, that will have passed, and you can't get it back. So, I wish things had gone differently on Ian's side. I wish things had gone differently on the judge's side. I felt like in the contempt of court, he could have kept control by trying 3 weeks and trying a month instead of a week. 7 days, bam, instead of 30.
These contempt of court charges, the one was for refusing to sit, and what was the other? Was he do something else? Or?
The first one is like I said, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking this one, and I felt like on the first one, the judge came in and said, "Sit down. Sit down, sit down," and it was all within 2 seconds. Ian was kind of had his hands on the table, and he wanted to ask questions before he entered the court, and this whole I don't consent to your rules thing. So, but he appeared from the behind, somewhat stunned. Within two seconds, essentially, he had himself a contempt of court charge.
And did he do anything else that made for additional contempt of court charges?
Additionally, he essentially was kept on reiterating that, I don't understand, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't consent to your governance, and I don't consent to this court, and these are your laws, and that kind of thing. He kept up with that, and the judge got kind of sick of it when he was asking him specific questions, and Ian wouldn't give him specific answers. In one case, it was, do you have $120 in your pocket for this fine? I don't consent to, that kind of thing. So it's not answering the question the judge asked. I do think in that circumstance, because one of the times that he asked, Ian didn't say anything, and the judge sort of gave he gave it the feeling that he was going to, find him in contempt of court if he didn't answer. Now, it's Ian's right to remain silent. He doesn't have to answer that judge on whether or not, he has that stuff in his pocket.
Documentary crew interviewing Ian's co-host on Free Talk Live will be taking over the show now that Ian is caged. Meanwhile, I'm staying back here inside the Keene building, Keene City building, waiting for this elevator to open, possibly with Ian inside, jailed. I don't know if that's actually where they bring him, but I'll stand here for a while anyway. Just had multiple conversations with bureaucrats, police officers, city manager, all trying to distance themselves from this sentencing. One of the cops was Eli Rivera, the prosecutor, the police prosecutor here in Keene, and he said, I stood aside for this. Although I think he may have been talking about, I'm not sure if he was just talking about Ian's thing, maybe he was talking about the police bothering me, I'm not sure. The city manager had just now heard about it. I told the city manager the news, and he said he was sorry to hear it, and he liked Ian, and they know each other. City manager's first name is John, I can't remember his last name. Again, he tried to sort of distance himself from this draconian verdict. And declined to give an interview. This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by NewHampshireFreePress.com.